So I'm trying out a new recording setup, or rather I'm just trying one, and I decided that I would try to show my sketchbook. Or rather one of my, by now, many sketchbooks. This is one that I filled from the 1st of January to the 18th of June this year. It has went with me for like 6 months, so it's pretty thick. Wait a moment. It's a few inches. It's like your common 8/4 times 11 3/4 inches. And yeah, I'm just looking how I can use this for recording, and I don't have many followers, but I still wanted to do this to also show my followers on Tumblr and Twitter in a kind of decent quality instead. I am someone, or rather I used to fill my pages like as full as I could, and this was very fun to do. It's a whole bunch of OCs of mine, so you can read the names and there's always the date on top up here. This one is actually from the 3rd of January because I started on the wrong page. This is better. That way you can see both pages. Some more OC things. This is a lot of time ago, actually. I've drawn so much in between. I was obsessed with Fire Emblem. I still am obsessed with Fire Emblem. There's also these things where you just have it upside down. I didn't care about what my sketchbooks looked like. This was done with a purple, how are they called? Those colored mechanical pencils. And for you to see this one properly too, another OC design with a class from Fire Emblem. We have some style trying, and this actually was from the 1st of January, and I have to admit, this was what I tried to do realistically back then, and I'm just going to take a moment and show you what I can do realistically right now, just so you know what a difference there is in between that couple of... This is a different sketchbook of mine. In between a couple of months. So these are some basic portraits I did, which are unshaded, and there's this big one over here, and my just general style got a lot more realistic. I just want you guys to know, so I feel less ashamed of myself, of my past little self. This was done with Shinhan touch markers, which are basically Copics but less expensive, and some more purple line art and unnecessary watercolor paper taped in with my beautiful little washi tapes, and some, I don't even know why I did this. I think it's like foils that are used to create the letters on larger signs. Chrome Lucina from Fire Emblem Awakening. This was for school, some designs for a project that had the topic of I think it was chaos and order. More character design. This is one of my... He used to be one of my very favorite OCs. He's a Fire Emblem mercenary and he's an asshole. He is just an asshole. Some ninja girl. Well, my Sona is a ninja girl. And this was when I noticed, or rather when others noticed, holy shit, I got same face. I corrected this, but I still really like my soft ways of shading that I used to have. This is like half a month in of using the sketchbook. This is my girlfriend's character. Or rather, I designed it for her, and she just gave the name and the character and everything. Now this page is full. These are this is the child character between a character of a friend of mine and my own. This is my OC Leah. And he is a bow knight, so I drew him on his horse with his bow, as well as him kind of hugging his horse and being a general dick. I don't even know if I'm allowed to say that on YouTube, but I'm not making any money with this anyway. So we have some more OCs. This is Saren. You will see her very often in my sketchbooks. She's one of my favorites too. I put a lot of effort into her design, and while she's pretty much a cliche Mary Sue, I still love my girl. This is Henry from Fire Emblem Awakening specifically. This is a very interesting one. This was so fun to do. It was done in ink and Copics. Not Copics, but Shinhan Touch markers. Let's just say Alk markers. Some more OC stuff with an OC of an old friend and mine. And some doodling. More Leah, because I love my girl. Some naked act that didn't even have a... Did that one have a reference? I don't remember. And there is a merdude, which is just a dude mermaid with a sparkly butt. But don't ask me why that happened. Some Saren, some Frey. OC of mine too. She's called Madeleine and she's a sweetheart. Hans and Leah with open hair this time. This is so weird. But I love to draw my own hand. Just make it a little pretty. Frey. And you remember this one was on the first page too, right here. This is the improvement of 1 month. I was pretty proud of how much I improved here. It's literally 1 month. This is from the 31st of January. The big bad wolf. Some cross-hatching exercises, because I love me some cross-hatch. Some lighting exercise. I'm actually showing those into the wrong direction. Some lighting exercise. Some OC stuff. And eyes, because eyes are the bane of us artists. Even more Fire Emblem. Lucina from Fire Emblem Awakening, Takumi from Fire Emblem Fates, and Saren, which is my Fire Emblem OC again. And also a Corrin, male Corrin from Fire Emblem Fates. Then we have some studies. This was actually from Photograph. It's reflecting a little, god damn it. And my boyfriend's OC. Lots of faces, because I had to practice faces after I got told that I had same face. This was while I was in Austria. Some Durgan and some Frey. And also this was on the way back from Austria. I didn't actually draw anything in Austria. I was very uninspired. Bad word. Lots of sketches with a charcoal pen, which is this one. It's just very thick, really nice. You can do really nice confident strokes. It's a beautiful thing to use, but it smudges very easily. This was the train station in Munich, and it's Leia again. And it's a bunch of trees I saw. Selena from Fire Emblem Awakening, Cyril, which became one of my girlfriend's OCs, and a dark version of Saren. I don't really know why I drew that one. This is Dana, one of my boyfriend's OCs, done with a brown ink pen that I made a wash with. Some more ink pen and Grima, or rather male Grima Robin from Fire Emblem Awakening, and some color circle stuff. Testing out new watercolors I bought in Austria. This is my OC Victor, and some random faces that are just doodles. This was a lot of posing practice with reference, photo reference from Senshi stock, I'm pretty sure, on DeviantArt. Female Corrin. And there's more Saren and a dragon. Or rather, a dragon's eye. there is that's Seren's dragon form. I used to be ridiculous. Of course I had an OC that turned into a dragon. Of course I did. Then there is this little one, which is a kind of nymph drawing of my Sona under a, what are they called, wisteria tree, which I did for self-indulgence because I'm not all too confident in myself. And it was inspired by the song The Willow Maid, which is about a man abducting he falls in love with a nymph that is bound to a tree, and he ends up getting possessive and chopping the tree off to get her, but she can't survive without a tree. This was another try at realism and some more Victor. You can see that I tried to kind of turn around my style a bit here. This was really fun to do. This is Elise from Fire Emblem Fates, but I gave her the role of her big brother, so instead of being the small princess, she's the crown princess with the legendary sword. Things like that are super fun to do. I'm a little ashamed of how this turned out. I think that was supposed to be a female version of Victor, but it didn't work out at all. Practiced some old and young comparisons to see how the face would change without reference, which I regret by now. This is some, I don't even know. You can see how much I wanted to draw when I drew those, because of the faces the kind of ballerinas make. These are all done with the same charcoal pen. And then there's some OC stuff. This is Finn carrying my boyfriend's OC's fox form, who is just a huge, fat, fluffy fox. It's adorable. Explaining to someone how hips work and explaining myself how boobs work. Small comic. I don't do relationships. Exists. Shit. A Fire Emblem Fates styled cut-in for Leah. And when Fire Emblem Echoes was announced, or Echoes Shadows of Valencia, I tried to draw my interpretation of a modern Doma, or Duma, from Fire Emblem Gaiden. This is another OC of mine, one of my few chubby OCs, named Leslie, who is the equivalent of a wolf shapeshifter, and they turn into those big fluffy wolves called Huskin, which comes from husky. Then this is Riviera, another FE character, and Victor and a close-up of Riviera. Then we have Flora in a Dark Mage outfit from Fire Emblem Fates that I made for a guest station in kind of celebrating his Fire Emblem Fates randomizer. It was super fun, and I still think that it looks pretty good. I did good work back then. I'm proud of myself. This got a little rubbed off because I didn't fix my... Or I started fixating my art with hairspray at that point, but it didn't really work, it seems. But Lucina from Fire Emblem Awakening, and this was some more portrait practice in March. This was trying out my watercolors, and this was something I don't know anymore. Then I started watching Eisterbrag videos and tried out drawing some noses and eyes with her guidance. And I think those turned out very well, but I wasn't really able to adapt a lot. I then tried around with colors and with my brush pen a little more. And designed designed a new character. And there's also another Leah with the exact same expression as the Robin before, just to test out coloring. Some shipping, some Seren inspired by Yuri on Ice in figure skating clothes. This one's empty because I thought that this was too crumbly to draw on. I don't know what young me thought. Victor's late wife, or rather fiance, and some height comparisons between Seren and Finn, which is this is my Sona and my OC, because they were like kind of in the same universe at that point. Some doodles, and this was supposed to become an artwork, but I never actually did it because I don't know, man. There's some doodles of faces. I still kind of like how this one turned out because I'm not very confident with instantly drawing with fine liner, but this one turned out pretty good actually in comparison to my other tries. Like this one, it became Gary from Eve. There's some more Leslie and some Seren in a wolf's, like a wolf. It's literally just a furry. With like a wolf tail, wolf ears, some flowy hair that doesn't have any logic to it, and boobs and hips, and I corrected that hip because it was far too big. Some Soleil from Fire Emblem Awakening. Fates, it's Fates. I'm sorry. Some Azura from Fire Emblem Fates, and some small ink doodles, ink wash doodles. Some more Seren and her. Yeah, that's Seren and her. Ow, my hand, god damn it. And her adopted child, which is Scylla. More Seren, again a little wasted because of the pencil on the other side of the paper. I had to learn how to fix my things, how to fixate them. This turned out pretty well. Preserve them, that's the word I'm searching for. This actually was pretty fun to draw, and I think it doesn't look so bad. There's a bit of a mistake in the leg, but I like the pose. Didn't turn out that bad. And I overworked my Sona to be more like me, so more chubby and shorter hair. I then started to get back into dragons, because I fucking love dragons. Inspired by Fire Emblem 2. And studied some bird wing anatomy and then dragon wing anatomy, thinking about how it would work. OC, eyes. This was actually pretty fun. It still looks pretty cool. I taped this over something that didn't work out, and this is Seren in a dancer outfit. And this was the fully overworked design of my Sona Finn, with a fan art pressing through, which is Dakim from Death Parade. And also some more Lucina from FF Fates, and some more Sona stuff, like Victor, Finn and Frey, all OCs of mine, and a random guy. I still love this one. This was done in gouache, and I'm pretty proud of this, because it still looks pretty good. The eyes are a little small, and the nose is pretty long, but I think the way I colored it is still pretty cool, especially the skin. Again, some Fire Emblem OC stuff. You have Seren and Frey again. These will become a running gag. Running gag. This is Seren's son, Christopher. He's an adorable sweetheart. And he can also turn into a dragon because, fuck, I love dragons. I don't care if they're Mary Susan OP, I love dragons. Then a horse that I drew during lessons, Victor, and I think that was supposed to be Finn, but it wasn't chubby enough in the end. Some eye practice. I don't like this page at all. This was just trying around with some colors because we tried to do some things in art lessons. This is Sharina from Fire Emblem Heroes, the mobile app. This was very fun to do too. Still looks pretty fine. You have some more dragons, which my teacher thought they looked like wolves. I can't blame him. We have some original stuff, some sketching of Seren and Silver, as well as some night stuff. I think there's like some deep symbolic meaning to that, but I can't tell you what. I forgot. We have a centaur Pegasus Centaur. We have a guy or girl that everyone told me looked like either a very feminine guy or a very masculine girl. So we just said that it's probably a transsexual. Just because it fits, kind of. We're not sure which direction though. Then we have some random dude. And I don't know why I did that. But I love that face. Just in general. These faces. I think I was just having fun with those. And some Frey. And some Leah's, which this guy is, you saw, it was the guy that was upside down before. That's that's Frey's son. There's time travel shenanigans and universe shenanigans in Fire Emblem, so, in the newest Fire Emblem titles, so don't mind the fact that both of them look young. Then I tried to basically just do some more gouache. I had long nose syndrome, very bad long nose syndrome. Then I tried to disintegrate my whole style after having some stress about same face syndrome. So I just took my entire style and put it up on head. Put it upside down, that's the thing I was searching for. And people thought it was pretty cool. It's not my piece of cake to draw like this, but it helped me to stylize my drawings more and to think about how to overdo facial, not expressions, like, you know what I mean, how to like exaggerate facial proportions to make a character more like themselves. I have some more pose practice that was randomly done. I just chose that as the middle point and all other poses were supposed to go to that. As well as a Blaziken for a Tumblr-esque and a crying Frey. There's some more doodles as well as a drawing of an OC of mine and one of my boyfriend. Just taped in because I don't care. I do my sketchbooks very freely, as you might have noticed. Then there's this page. This was done with reference, at least these 7, from DeviantArt, from a expression meme, I think, that were put up for artists to use, as well as an OC again. And we have Frey and Leah, one stylized to be kind of like semi-realistic, but yeah, the long nose kind of destroys that, as well as the one just... Well, that's actually not my OC, it was another person's OC, but I don't have any contact with them anymore. I think the character was called... Were they called Shelly? I think they were. In a very manga-nized style. I wanted to show that I can still kind of draw manga. Then we have something that I wanted to try out is I drew the sketch on normal paper down there, and then I basically lined it roughly, and then I put a piece of transparent paper over it and lined it with a brush pen very roughly to create a very, very stylized and very smooth image. This was one of the very productive days. It's like a dragon woman that I actually kind of like. She looks pretty badass, but her legs don't make sense, at least not here. We have a big dragon boy. That's Vic in his dragon form. I have a lot of OCs with dragon forms because I love dragons. I said that 1,000 times in here. If you actually watch this video, count how many I love dragons you have heard during this video. I'm sorry. And his wife, who goes up to him and ends up actually dying there. You might be able to notice that I love torturing my OCs. This was done with a fountain pen. I don't know why I called it Little Mermaid, but it was just very fun to do. Some Victor, some... looks like Miku Hatsune. And this is Victor and Denna, so the two who are the dragon and the girl there with their daughter after they died. And they left that mask for their daughter. Requiem, another OC, who I just did kind of spontaneously. It was pretty fun to do, and I still like her design a lot. She looks sly, and she looks like she would basically just fuck you up in every possible way. Then we have Finn falling because I was feeling not so well at the time. It's very emotionally loaded for me. Didn't really do anything on that page, but I drew like a big witch with my brush pen on here and some cat boy gymnastics with, I don't know, eyes covered, so blindfolded, and I don't know what this is. It's like a very weird kind of chimera. Some object drawings of our cups, of a piece of tape, my pens, not my pencil, but my white polychromos, a marker, and some more cups. This was for Lucina's birthday, so this is Lucina and the My Unit from Fire Emblem Awakening. Some wedding dress shenanigans, and a siren who's actually very ugly but actually loves the way she looks in the mirror. Then we have some referenced practice for perspective, which I also use Senshi stock references for. These turned out pretty well. Myself was so good back then. What happened? Some more Vin and Dana in her dancing dress. This is a little badly done, but I still like the idea. I should redraw that sometime. This was for the birthday of a friend. His Fatesona persona, like his Fire Emblem Fates OC, with his Wyvern. And I love that face. These were just for fun, trying some rough sketches with my rough pen again, with my charcoal. These are some more portrait practice, with reference, of course, in this case. Then I watched a video of some people dancing to Once Upon a December from Anastasia, and I put Victor and Dana in there because I love those two. These are like my OTP. I tried to do a portrait for Victor and also practiced some colored pencil shenanigans with only red, blue, and yellow. And I like this guy. He's adorable. That's my very first OC that I did when I was very little, redrawn. She's a sweetheart. Her Mary's so sweetheart, but a sweetheart nevertheless. Some more experimenting and drawing more dragons. This is again Dana and Victor even more. This is like the "you're a good boy" meme. Some tiny watercolor that's actually just that small. It's not glued in, it's actually just that small. Some fawn guy. And Dana with her, like my boyfriend's OC again, with the wings. Some fashion sketches that I referenced, and I just wanted to get the overall dynamic of the clothing and register it to my hand so that maybe I can use it someday again. I tried to make Saren a little buffer. Didn't really work out as well, but I tried. Some self-indulging and happy, comforting stuff for a friend who was feeling very bad. And my Sivek redesigned to actually be the dragon that he was supposed to be for a project. This is his dragon form. I also did his dragon form again over here. This was actually really cool. I actually have shirts with a dragon head on them that have like Vic written on them. It's very funny because it feels so weird to have your own designs and characters and shirts that other people are wearing. Some more practice with the brush pen. We have some boobs there. Some bit of landscape, some very relaxing, simple stuff without much impact. I used to dry leaves and put them in my sketchbook to fill pages. This was a joke because we were talking about how I would do a tutorial about drawing boobs and a friend of mine would draw a tutorial about drawing butts and we'd see what gets more clicks and views. and likes as well to see what people prefer, butts or boobs. And we have a woman stretching for a unicorn. This is weird. This looks just weird. Small chubby mermaid. Frey. These are some weird as hell spontaneous just portraits from photographs. I redrew this on the next page actually. Still long nose syndrome and a lot of hands. I had to practice hands a lot. Then Finn and some dragon. I never actually finished this. This was too much work to finish for me at the time. My brush pen also stopped working, kind of. Some more post practice to try to get anatomy from head, like not referencing it, just trying to use some weirdly bizarre anatomy especially to convey something. As well as another try on Vic and a face that I don't know why it exists. Some sketch stuff with those bold charcoal lines again. These aren't specifically aesthetically pleasing. They're just doodles. I don't like to permanently push myself into the permanent everything has to be the best mentality in my sketchbooks, because there's days when I want to improve and those are the days when I practice deliberately, but there's days where I just want to have some lighthearted fun with myself in my sketchbooks. This was during lessons. We couldn't decide if this was a trap or just a very adorable girl. Some more face and even more face and lots of dragons. I think that's Vic again, because Vic is just such a good boy. This is a very old OC of mine, reworked too. I still have the old comic I drew with them. And I tried some, again, drawing with only red, blue, and yellow. Kind of worked out not as best. Some portrait practice. And some more Dana and Vic, because those two are tops. Again, nothing. I don't know why I do that. But these were some tries for the design for the t-shirt. I actually ended up using something with a dragon, but it was just the dragon's head. It worked out pretty okay. Some more Leah stuff, because she's an adorable baby. Somebody practiced with reference, because I had to understand male anatomy. Still don't understand it. And some Frey, some OC for a friend who wasn't feeling well again, so I sketched her OC to make her feel better. Some Henry from Varam Awakening and some random face, as well as some Vic, and I actually really like this dragon down here. It turned out pretty fine. Then some faces trying to imitate a friend's style. Maybe you have heard of her. Her name's Claire Jess. She's mainly a German artist. I don't think she does any videos in English, but if you subscribe to me, you probably know me because of her. This is like a kind of amphitheater. Don't ask me. Somewhere Dana and Vic. I just love those two. You might be able to notice that a lot. Then we have more Leslie and a bit of Finn. Some practice with faces and body and just putting a very, very bright color in the background. Also gluing in another bit of flowers in here. And this was again for a birthday of a friend. It's her OC. Some skeletons, some skull practice, better said. And this is actually funny because this is a tiny little animation of a girl looking at you and then smiling at you. It's actually pretty adorable. I don't know why I did it. It was a lot of work because these are like, I drew this one and then I traced it on the transparent paper. Then I glued it on normal paper. And then I traced it through transparent paper again, and I did that for every frame. Then some nose, eye, and lip perspective practice, which I still didn't get, and this is just creepy. Dragons! Even more dragons. I love dragons. Dragon in a box down here. This was like holding practice, looking at the way that we hold bottles. Also schoolgirl and some Squidward. There's a robin and a building at where I live. Or rather where I go to school too. An eye, and this was fun because this is like some very fluorescent orange paint. You can actually see it on the video as well, but it's like neon orange. I got some rest of that neon orange acrylic paint to try around with. Also some eyes, lots of eyes. And don't ask me, I tried to understand anatomy again and it didn't go well at all. Some body type practice over here. Some chubby girls, some slender girls. Some with big, some with small breasts. Some face. We're actually through half of the thing. Some more Vic as well as Frey. And this is Vic in his winter outfit. I tried to explain to myself how the heck his sleeves work. Because those are like very complicated. I'm just going to do this again because then it gets dark a little. I even did some weird stuff to try around with and drew some lemons with again just blue. With again just blue, yellow and red. And I need to hurry because my phone will be empty soon, so I'm just going to flip through. This is again near the school, some face practice, some more faces trying to practice age again. Some body type practice from slender, chubby, and more chubby. It's not even fat, it's just chubby. Some more Seren and Frey, and this is Celica from Fire Emblem Echoes, and this is some dynamic posing practice with some elegant poses. Some more Vic and Denna and a dragon again, and this is again done with Senshi stock, because I love Senshi stock, and this is not sponsored at all. Some more portrait practice with photo references to try to get facial anatomy better. Yeah, right. Some more Vic, some better breasts. I'm not going to cover those. Then we have some female Vic with a raven, so it's basically just a cliche witch. That's baby Denna sitting on top of Vic's nose, and more dragon. That's Xander from Fire Emblem Fates, and down here is Denna and Vic fighting because drama. This was done with pose references again. I tried to get more spontaneous and confident with my lines, so I did a lot of those with Senshi stock again, where I would just instantly draw with a thick brush pen. Denna and Vic, and a centaur girl. This was for something Iceberg did, but I didn't actually send it because I only finished it afterwards. This is like a witch's hat in a very small format, traditionally done with pencil and fine liner. Some facial practice without reference. And this is just weird stuff that I do when I'm bored and need my hand to calm. Denna and Vic drama and another OC. Some faces and even more faces. There's just a lot of faces here. This was when I was 6, so I wasn't able to concentrate, so I just worked very roughly with a ballpoint pen and did stuff like this, where I just drew a endless thing. Then a bit of scribble. This is actually Bunny I have in my home. More scribbles of my DS, my water bottle, my view from the window, my cup and my shelf, and some more dragon and guys sitting down there. More Vic and son of Frey kissing the son of my boyfriend's character's feet. But some eye, some watercolor shenanigans, just doing stuff, at least doing stuff. I wanted to try to be productive despite feeling bad. Self-portrait time. I'm a chubby girl that actually has weird habits. A siren, or rather sea witch concept for kind of a horror gamey thing. Some Robin, and this was supposed to be a comic that I never finished. This is some help for my boyfriend as well as 2 Vicks trying to, holy shit, this does look weird on camera. Trying to figure out how to draw dark skin with colored pencils. This ended up looking very unhealthy, so I'll practice a lot more later on. This is done with watercolors, and it's kind of like how this turned out. I think the color looks healthy. Because I want to learn how to color dark skin, because I think that it's very interesting to be able to display different colors instead of just cliche manga white. Some practice with different, well, impatient practice because I didn't let it dry at all, to see how balls will work out of different consistencies, faces, and trying to work with only shadows instead of actually drawing the lines. I did that a lot when I didn't know what to do. This one is a full artwork. That's actually on my DeviantArt, I think, and on my Tumblr and Twitter, which is just lesbian mermaid and lesbian girl being happy together, because we need more happy lesbian girls. Non-sexualized happy lesbian girls. Well, if it counts as sexualized that she's naked, okay, I'm sorry. But I just wanted them to be happy. And I don't see a reason to put a mermaid in clothes. Some more post-practice with Senshi stock for fun. Some more faces, even more faces. Some reasoning, why do I draw? This is actually a pretty long text that I wrote to myself about why I even draw. This was supposed to be some perspective practice that I never actually finished. This is some more rough stuff. I just wanted to get over with the sketchbook at this point. Some more portrait practice and eyes and Todoroki from Boku no Hero Academia. Some class designing for a pseudo isekai type of game. Some more practice with balls, trying to see how I could make translucence and scatter, what's called subsurface scattering work. This was reference. It's like that very muscular bodybuilder Asian girl. I loved her body type. She's amazing. And also some dragon girl. Some designs for monster in the same game. And some character design for a project I wanted to try, but I didn't actually do it. Exactly. It was supposed to be Dreamers, and it was supposed to be the cast. This is the protagonist in her real life and her isekai character design. Some were Lucinas from Fire Emblem Awakening, and Dena, and wing practice, because wings are beautiful. This is some hands, and again done with reference, and some fin. And this is Marilyn Monroe, copied from a photograph. Well, copied, okay. It's stylized, highly stylized. Then I did some practices with photographs of, I'm actually going to tilt that a little. Some photograph practice to practice landscaping and thumbnailing. My 2 OCs, Random Girl, practicing drawing some paper sheets. Again, 2 designs. This is the rework of Seren. This is what Seren ended up looking like after a lot of time passed. Seren again in her now very sassy design. And lots of eyes, trying to figure out an art style. Practicing paws and practicing dragons and human body. These are like warm-up sketches that ended up going into the area where I wanted to try drawing a lion, but found out I couldn't draw lions, so I got a reference. And I drew dragons. I drew lions with reference, and now I can draw lions without reference. Good thing. Good things happen when you actually practice with references. Then I tried to apply dragon anatomy to dragons. Lion anatomy to dragons, and it worked out pretty well. Angst. Then I tried to draw what are they called? Not chimeras, manticores. Hands, even more hands, because hands are important. Lion, and even more hands, and faces, and more painterly faces. And this is Vic and his son is trying to kill him because drama. And Vic and NOC of another member of the Pitsuna community. I'm starting to sing because my battery is empty, nearly empty. Durgan. No, actually, that's a drag, that's a wyvern, and that's an amphitheater. Trying to figure out dragons, like thinking about what jaw they need to have to eat what. And a tiny dragon eating a nut that's like a hazelnut. So the dragon is maybe that big. A Leviathan and a lindworm. Some poses, some faces, your common dungus. Face and balls and my arm. And some body types with characters from other people in the Pitsuna community. More hands, because hands are the bane of my existence. Painterly, and buddies, and a buddy, and well, with a head, and hands. Even more hands. Lots of hands. And these are objects in my room. Well, not the car, but these are objects in my room. I tried to draw realistically to get a hang of shadows. That was a car outside. We have face, face, and face. Random faces that aren't especially aesthetically pleasing. Even more hands. And even more Vic and Dana. Because Vic and Dana are Vic and Dana. And lots of doodling. Trying to understand legs. Vic, when he was younger. This looks weird. A line. And Vic and Dana being happy. More doodles, and this was a shit ton of work. This is Vic's room. God, was that a shit ton of work. It took me 2 days, and it's like a really detailed room with a lot of books and a lot of plants and succulents and everything. So much fucking work. A description of the body. Of the room. I'm getting tired, I noticed that. But it's not even that late here. More Vic, this time trying to do different stages. This is now, when he was an adult, when he was an adolescent, and when he was a child. Succulents, done with brush pen, because I fucking love succulents as well. Dana. Saren in her reworked version. And even more Vic, and a dagger made from his scales. I love that dagger. I'm pretty proud of that. This is outside of my apartment, some birch trees and some bushes. That I drew while I was outside, and some face. Body types. Pretty girls doing sports with different body types, because we need that. Also faces. Even more faces. There's a lot of faces. Because I had to practice faces. I'm still no good at faces. Even more faces! Aren't I a good face drawer? Not really. Face and a girl. An adorable girl. And some practice of objects, but that didn't actually work out as well. I don't have a clue how to shade. Things I remember I have to practice. Lion and a crane and a... I think that was supposed to be a swan. Then I had no internet, so I had to draw things from images I had on my computer, and I had a lot of gemstones. So I drew a peridot, I think it is, and some different types of pearls I found. Very stylized, very highly exaggerated colors, but it was lots of fun. Then there was like a prompt list that I had on my PC, where the first prompt was like grow. So I made a guy growing up and aging, and then looking at a book as he remembers the past. And that's actually the last page, isn't it? Yes, it is. It's like some more portrait practice, this time from head, and I'm pretty proud of this one especially. Because, yeah, this is what pays off when you practice a lot of portrait. You can go from this to this within half a year. Even faster, much faster. But I'm just a very slow learner. I take my time. I want to take my time. So, yeah, that was that sketchbook. Completed on the 18th of June 2017. Yay! That was that one. Thank you for watching, and if you liked this, if you even saw it, I would love it if you could leave a comment or like the video to show me if you actually want to see more sketchbooks, or if I should even show how I drew some of the things in here or in my other sketchbooks. I'd love to hear some responses, even though I don't have many subscribers and not a high reach. I'd love to hear some opinions if you saw this, and thank you very much for watching through this whole thing. I'm very out of breath, holy shit, and my throat hurts. But yeah, thanks for watching. I'm really glad to have you here, and have a great day.